Long before Earth was known to the galaxy, there were stories, ancient stories, carved into stone tablets and hidden in the deepest archives of alien worlds. They spoke of a small blue planet at the far edge of the stars, home to a species unlike any other. These beings were called the children of fire, not because they were born from flames, but because their will burned brighter than any star. The prophecy was simple, yet terrifying. When the children of fire awaken, the sky will burn and the galaxy will tremble. For thousands of years, the alien civilizations treated it as a myth. The older empires used the story to frighten their young, the way humans tell ghost tales. The newer worlds barely knew of it at all. To them, Earth was nothing but a quiet, harmless world, still learning how to walk among the stars. But deep in the archives of the Zyrag Empire, the prophecy was more than just a story. The Zyrag scholars had found matching fragments on 3 different planets, fragments so old that even their most advanced scanners could not date them. The words were the same every time. They always ended with a warning about the children of fire. Still, the Zyran leadership laughed. Humans, dangerous. The Zyran Navy could destroy Earth in days. There was nothing to fear, until the signals began. Far beyond Pluto, in the frozen edge of the Sol system, strange energy readings appeared. The readings pulsed like a heartbeat, each wave stronger than the last. Some Zyran scientists believed it was a natural phenomenon. Others whispered about hidden weapons. In the end, the Empire sent a scout ship to investigate a sleek, black cruiser commanded by Captain Drail Voss. Drail was not a believer in myths. To him, the mission was simple: scan the area, find the source, and return home. If humans had secretly built something there, he would report it. If not, he would mark it as harmless and leave. But space beyond Pluto was quiet, too quiet. The stars seemed dimmer, the shadows longer. The ship's scanners picked up nothing at first, only empty rock and ice. Then, slowly, shapes began to appear on the radar. At first, they looked like asteroids, large and irregular, but they moved in formation. Drell leaned forward in his chair, narrowing his eyes. Bring them on visual. The view screen flickered, and the shapes came into focus. They were massive. Each one was longer than a city, their surfaces black as the void. Strange red markings glowed faintly along their hulls, pulsing in time with the strange energy readings. Stations, his second officer asked. Drail shook his head. No station is built like that. The ships, if they were ships, remained perfectly still. No lights, no engine flares. Just silent, waiting giants. The crew began to whisper. The red markings on the hulls did not look like numbers or codes. They looked like symbols, sharp and ancient. One of the junior officers muttered that he had seen them before, in an old archive image about the children of fire. Drell told him to be quiet. Then one of the giants moved. It was slow at first, turning its colossal body toward the Zyran scout ship. The red markings along its side flared brighter, and a deep vibration filled the bridge, as if the sound was coming from inside their own bones. Energy spike. The sensor officer shouted, "Weapons are charging." Drail's blood went cold. He opened his mouth to order an emergency jump, but before he could speak, the giant fired. A beam of pure, blinding light shot past the scout ship, missing it by only a few meters. The heat from the blast made the ship's hull scream. It was not an attack, it was a warning. Then, for the first time, a voice came through the comms. It was human, calm, steady. Cold, siren vessel, you have entered restricted space. Leave immediately. Drayle froze. The voice did not ask for negotiation. It did not threaten. It simply ordered. And there was something about it, something that made his instincts scream at him to obey. He gave the order to retreat. The scout ship turned and fled, engines burning. Hard, not slowing until the strange giants were far behind. When they finally cleared the edge of the system, Drayle sent his report to the Zyran High Command. He told them about the black ships, the red markings, the warning shot. He told them about the human voice. The High Command did not believe him. They accused him of exaggerating, of letting fear cloud his judgment. But the recordings from his ship told a different story. Every detail matched the old warnings in the archives. The symbols, the energy pulses, even the location, everything fit the prophecy. Still, the council laughed. One ship cannot scare an empire, the Chancellor said. We will send a patrol and prove these children of fire are nothing but myth. But Drayle could not shake what he had seen. As he lay in his quarters, the image of the glowing red markings haunted him. The hum of the energy pulse still rang in his ears, and the voice, the cold, certain voice, echoed in his mind. Somewhere deep inside, he knew the truth. The prophecy was real. The children of fire had awakened, and soon the sky would burn. Asterisk, the Zyran High Command treated Captain Drayle's report like a joke. In their eyes, humans were still a young species with no real fleet, no colonies beyond their home system, and no power to challenge an empire. They believed the mysterious black ships Drayle described were either alien smugglers or malfunctioning scanning data to prove their point. They sent a small patrol into soul space. It was meant to be a display of power, warning to humans not to overstep their place. 12 Zyran warships, sleek and armed, crossed into the system near Neptune. Their orders were simple: enter, scan, send a message of dominance, and leave. The patrol commander, Admiral Corin Vesk, was confident. He had fought many wars and crushed many weaker species. To him, this would be no different. He even sent a public transmission across human communication networks, mocking Earth and daring them to respond. Earth did not answer with words. At first, the space around Neptune was silent. The Zyran fleet moved in formation, scanning the area. The icy blue planet drifted below, quiet and harmless. Then the sensors began to flicker. Faint blips appeared, scattered across the patrol's radar. They were not large enough to be warships, but they were moving slowly, deliberately toward the fleet. Corin smirked. Scouts, easy targets. The blips vanished. Then they reappeared much closer, before Corin could issue a command. The space ahead of the fleet shimmered like heat over desert sand. One by one, enormous black shapes emerged from the distortion. They were the same as Drayle had described, vast, shadow-like warships covered in glowing red markings that pulsed like a heartbeat. The patrol froze. The Zyran crews stared at the giants, their size dwarfing the largest ships in the fleet. The red glow intensified, casting long shadows across the Zyran hulls. Then the first Titan moved. It did not speak. It did not warn. A single beam of blinding energy shot from its side, slicing through the nearest siren destroyer. The shields didn't even flare. The ship simply broke apart, drifting into two burning halves. The Siren fleet reacted instantly, firing all weapons. Beams and missiles streaked toward the black giants, but the Titans moved like predators in water, weaving between attacks with unnatural grace. Some vanished completely, only to reappear at the flanks or behind the Zyran ships. A second Titan, FIRED, erasing another destroyer in one shot. A third unleashed a pulse wave that shut down the engines of 2 cruisers, leaving them floating, helpless in space. Moments later, precision fire reduced them to glowing wrecks. Corran tried to regroup the fleet, but the formation was already broken. The Titans never allowed the Zyrans to focus their fire. Every time a group gathered, a beam of energy would rip through it, scattering survivors. The battle was over in less than 4 minutes. When it ended, there were no Zyran ships left in the Neptune sector. No survivors, no wreckage large enough to recover. The Titans had erased them completely. Across the galaxy, rumors spread at light speed. Merchant convoys whispered of the Neptune massacre. Smugglers claimed they had seen black warships, gliding silently through asteroid belts, their red lights pulsing like living creatures. The story of the first blow became a warning in itself. For the Zyran Empire, it was a humiliation. The High Command called emergency meetings. Some demanded a full invasion of Earth to crush the humans before they could grow stronger. Others argued for caution, pointing to the speed and precision of the attack. But the majority still believed their empire could not be beaten. Pride blinded them. They began preparing a massive fleet, one far larger than the patrol lost at Neptune. Their plan was simple: overwhelm the humans with numbers. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Rain stood in the command deck of Vigilant Flame, the flagship of the Burning Sky Armada. She watched silent hollers of the Neptune battle, how each Titan moved, how each strike was chosen. There was no wasted fire, no chaos. The Titans fought with the cold precision of machines, yet they were alive. Beside her, a holographic projection of the Ocean Temple's carvings glowed softly. The ancient symbols matched the red markings on the Titans. The same pulse rhythm that beat in the ships echoed faintly in the temple's deepest chamber. No, Rain said quietly. Her second officer frowned. Who? The Titans, she replied. They know the war has started. Earth's leaders met that night. The decision was unanimous. The Armada would not wait for the Zyran Empire to strike again. The first blow had been delivered. The next would go deeper, right into the heart of the enemy. Far above the blue planet, the black warships gathered. Their red lights burned brighter, their engines humming with the deep, steady rhythm of something ancient awakening. The children of fire were no longer a prophecy. They were here, and the galaxy was beginning to understand what that meant. The destruction of the Zyran patrol near Neptune spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Every spaceport, every trading hub, every smuggler's den buzzed with whispers of the black ships with burning markings. Some called them Titans. Others spoke in older tongues, using a name not heard for centuries, the Children of Fire. But no one outside Earth understood the truth. Beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean, far below the deepest trench, lay the Ocean Temple. It was older than human history, carved from an unknown black stone that seemed to absorb light. Its walls were covered in symbols, sharp lines, and swirling patterns that glowed faint red when touched. The carvings were not human work. Admiral Rain stood in the temple's central chamber, her boots sinking slightly into the strange metal floor. Around her, the low hum of the place filled the air, vibrating in her bones. She had been here many times, but each visit felt different. As if the temple was watching her, her hand brushed over one of the glowing symbols. It pulsed in response, matching the heartbeat rhythm she had felt aboard the Titans. That was when she first understood this place was connected to them. The Burning Sky Armada was not built by human hands alone. It had been grown decades earlier. Explorers had stumbled upon the temple while surveying for deep-sea mining. They found strange cores buried in chambers like eggs, each the size of a human torso. When the first was brought to the surface, it reacted violently to modern machines, fusing with them and transforming them. That fusion became the first Titan dot. The mine cores were alive, not in the way humans understood life, but in thought, instinct, and memory. They could bond with a pilot, merging thoughts until ship and human were one. Some who attempted the bond never returned, rejected by the core. Others emerged. Different. Rain was one of the first accepted. She still remembered that moment, the rush of another mind meeting hers, cold and ancient, yet strangely curious. It did not obey her, it chose to work with her. Together, they could see seconds ahead in battle, anticipate moves, and strike with perfect precision. The Zyrans thought numbers would win against such power. They were wrong. Far across the galaxy, the Zyran High Command was assembling the largest fleet in their history. Over 500 warships, battleships, carriers, siege platforms gathered in their staging ground near the Vorex Nebula. Their plan was simple: flood Sol space with overwhelming firepower, crush Earth before the Armada could respond. But Rain knew they were coming. The Titans knew too. Even before the first scout reported the fleet's movement, the Armada was already shifting. Groups of Titans left their hidden stations in the asteroid belt, sliding into deep space positions. Cloaked drones were sent ahead to map hyperspace lanes. The Armada's goal was not defense, it was interception. Rain stood in the Vigilant Flames command cradle, watching a holographic display of the enemy fleet's projected route. A flashing red line marked a choke point near a dying star. The gravity well there was unpredictable. Its pull strong enough to slow even the fastest ships. "That's where we will strike," Rain said. Her second officer hesitated. "If we trap them there, no one will escape." "That is the point," Rain replied. The order went out. Titans moved toward the dead star, slipping through wormholes and shadowed lanes. Their red markings glowed brighter, their hum deeper, as if they sensed the hunt ahead. Days later, the Zyran fleet entered the choke point. The dying star burned weakly, its light casting long shadows over the warships. They moved in tight formation, confident in their size. Then the shadows moved. Titans emerged from the dark, surrounding the fleet in perfect silence. Their black hulls absorbed the star's weak light, their markings burning like coals. The first strike came from above, a beam so bright it split space itself, tearing through 3 battleships in a single pass. Before the Zyrans could respond, the Titans were gone, reappearing on the opposite flank. Missiles streaked out, detonating in precise patterns that ripped apart fighter bays and fuel lines. The Zyrans tried to push forward, but the gravity well slowed them. Titans darted in and out like predators around trapped prey. Every shot was planned, every kill was clean. One by one, the Zyran ships fell. Some exploded in silence, their debris spiraling into the star's pull. Others vanished without trace, as if space itself had swallowed them. From the bridge of the Vigilant Flame, Rain watched the chaos unfold. The Mind Core's presence was with her, guiding her movements, showing her the next target before the enemy even aimed. "This is not a battle," her second officer murmured. "This is a hunt." Rain said nothing. She knew the truth. This was a warning. Within hours, the great Siren fleet was gone. Only wreckage and cold silence remained around the dying star. Back in the ocean temple, far beneath the waves, the symbols on the walls glowed brighter than ever before. The hum grew louder, deep and steady. Something in the ancient stone seemed awake. The burning sky armada had struck again, and the galaxy was starting to realize this was only the beginning. The Dead Star Massacre shattered the Zyran Empire's pride, but it did not kill it. The loss of their great fleet was a wound, yet the High Command believed they could still recover. They told their people that the battle had been a mistake, that the humans had only won because of surprise. Face them head-on, the Chancellor declared, and Earth will fall. And so they built another fleet. Not the largest, this one was the largest in Zyran history. Over 1,000 ships, war cruisers, dreadnoughts, carriers, and siege platforms were assembled in orbit above their capital world. Shipyards glowed night and day. Every reserve ship was called in. Even freighters were armed and armored. The Zyrans did not care about efficiency now. They cared about revenge. The fleet moved like a swarm of steel through the stars. Everywhere they passed, traders fled and colonies locked down. Everyone knew their destination Soul. Earth did not wait for them to arrive. Admiral Rain stood on the command deck of the Vigilant Flame, her gaze fixed on the holographic projection of the Sol system. She watched as red enemy markers moved steadily closer. Behind her, the Titan captains waited silently, each connected to the mine core of their living ships. Their faces were calm, but their eyes had that strange stillness, the look of people who were no longer entirely human. They will hit the outer system first, Rain said. We will meet them there. Orders flashed across encrypted channels. The burning sky armada began to move, sliding out of hiding like predators leaving their dens. Titans emerged from asteroid fields, drifted from behind moons, and stepped through wormhole gates that shimmered like liquid glass. The battlefield would be the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. It was a perfect place for the Titans, crowded with rocks, rich with shadows, and threaded with hidden traps. When the Zyran fleet arrived, the Titans were waiting. The first wave was silent. Mines hidden among the asteroids detonated in sudden bursts of light, tearing through the Zyran vanguard. Drones, cloaked until the moment of attack, swarmed the enemy's forward ships, jamming sensors and scattering formations. Then the sky lit up. Dozens of Titans struck at once, their beams cutting across space like burning blades. Zyran ships exploded in clusters, their debris spiraling into the belt's rocks. The enemy returned fire, filling the void with streaks of plasma and missile trails. But the Titans moved too fast. They slipped between asteroids, reappearing at impossible angles, striking from all directions. Above the chaos, one Titan dwarfed the rest, Oblivion, the largest warship in the Armada. Its hull was covered in jagged red markings, glowing brighter with every passing second. From its forward spine, energy gathered in a roaring spiral, pulling light into itself. Clear firing path, Rain ordered. The Titans broke formation instantly, giving Oblivion an open line toward the enemy's central formation. The great ship's weapon fired beams so intense it turned the darkness of space into white daylight. It cut through dozens of Zyran ships in a single stroke, leaving behind only drifting ash dot. The Zyran commanders panicked. Their fleet began to fracture. Some tried to push forward, others pulled back, And in that confusion the Titans pressed harder. On the far flank, vigilant flame danced through the wreckage, targeting the Zyran carriers. Each strike disabled fighter bays before they could launch, leaving thousands of enemy craft trapped inside their hangars. From Mars, civilians watched the battle unfold as streaks of fire lit the night sky. The burning trails of destroyed ships fell like meteors, some breaking apart in the thin atmosphere before disappearing over the horizon. People gathered on rooftops, silent, watching their defenders turn the void into a furnace. It was no longer a battle, it was a storm. Hours passed, the Zyran fleet thinned, their numbers falling faster than reinforcements could arrive. The Titans kept moving, never giving the enemy a stable target. It was precision without mercy. Then Atlas arrived. The oldest Titan emerged from a wormhole near Jupiter, its size casting shadows over the gas giant's swirling storms. Its markings were different from the others, older, deeper, carved into the armor itself rather than painted. They pulsed with a rhythm slower, heavier, as if each beat came from the heart of the ocean temple itself. Without a word, Atlas fired its main weapon. But this was no narrow beam, it was a wave. A sheet of burning light swept across the enemy fleet, collapsing shields, frying systems, and leaving ships dead in the water. The survivors saw what was coming. Some fled, others powered down and surrendered, broadcasting desperate pleas. When the firing stopped, the asteroid belt was quiet. The Zyran fleet was gone, either destroyed or captured. Wreckage drifted in slow motion, glowing faintly from the heat of battle. On the bridge of the vigilant flame, Rain watched the debris field. Her voice was steady when she gave the final order. Prepare, Phase 4. We take the fight to them. The Titans turned in unison, their engines burning with the deep, steady hum of the children of fire. Far away, in the ocean temple, the red glow spread further along the walls. The hum was louder now, almost like a call-and. Something deep in the stone seemed to answer. The day the sky burned had ended, but the war was far from over. Asterisk, the Zyran Empire was dying. The warships that had once patrolled 1,000 worlds were gone, reduced to wreckage, or captured by the Titans. Their colonies were silent, their supply lines cut, their proud banners now nothing more than fading cloth hanging over empty streets. The High Command met one final time in the ruins of their capital council chamber. The great hall, once shining with polished metal and glowing banners, now stood in shadow. Smoke from recent orbital strikes still drifted through the cracks in the walls. Some councillors wanted to fight to the last ship, to turn every city into a fortress. Others demanded surrender, knowing that resistance would only bring more destruction. The Chancellor, the same leader who had once laughed at the Prophecies, in silence. His eyes were fixed on the hologram of Earth's fleet, now orbiting their homeworld. At the center of that hologram, larger than all others, was the Titan Atlas. Its black hull was covered in deep ancient markings. Its red glow pulsed like a slow heartbeat. Even in stillness, it radiated power. Then the voice came. It was Admiral Rain, her tone calm, steady, and without anger. Your war is over. Your fleets are gone. You have one choice: stand down now, or your world will burn. There was no threat in her voice, only certainty. The Chancellor rose slowly. His pride was gone. He had seen the recording ships cut in half in seconds, fleets erased in minutes. The Titans did not fight for conquest. They fought with purpose, and that made them unstoppable. He gave the order: surrender. The terms were simple. The Empire would dismantle all fleets capable of reaching soul space. No ships from any empire would enter Earth's system without permission. The penalty for breaking this would be the same fate as the Zyran Armada. When the surrender message was sent, the Titans did not fire. Instead, they began to withdraw in perfect formation, moving away from the capital like silent shadows fading into the void. But the galaxy was not at peace. The news of the Zyran defeat spread faster than light. Some worlds celebrated, seeing Earth as a new balance to the old empire's power. Others feared the rise of humanity, whispering that the children of fire would one day turn their burning eyes on the rest of the galaxy. On Earth, Admiral Rain returned to the Ocean Temple. She walked through its dim, pulsing halls, her footsteps echoing against the black stone. The symbols on the walls glowed brighter than ever, spreading farther than she had ever seen before. She placed her hand on one of the glowing lines. The hum deepened, vibrating through her chest. Images filled her mind, not just of the battles past, but of something else, something far away. A great shadow moving among the stars, shapes even larger than the Titans. The vision faded, but the feeling remained a quiet warning from the mind core. The war is not finished. She whispered above the planet. The Titans returned to their hidden positions. They did not celebrate victory. They did not rest. They simply waited, engines silent, eyes glowing faint in the darkness. The galaxy remembered the prophecy now. When the children of fire awaken, the sky will burn and the galaxy will tremble. The sky had burned and the galaxy had trembled. But the prophecy had never said the war would end there. And somewhere beyond the edge of known space, far past the reach of any charted star, something ancient stirred. Its presence was vast, cold, and patient. It had watched the Titans fight. It had watched the Zyrans fall. And now it began to move. On the vigilant flame, Admiral Rain stood in the command cradle, watching the stars beyond Sol. Her second officer approached quietly. "Do you think they will come back?" he asked. Rain's gaze stayed fixed on the darkness. "They will," she said, "but it will not be the Zyrans." The officer frowned. "Then who?" She did not answer. The mind core pulsed within her thoughts. And in that pulse she felt the truth something far older than the Titans was coming. And when it arrived, even the children of fire would face their greatest trial. Until that day, Earth would watch. Until that day, the Titans would wait. And when the sky burned again, the galaxy would learn the final lesson. The children of fire did not start wars, but they always finished them.